Testing.
Testing.
Test.
There we go. Just like 30-second delay.
Yeah, because it has to be pushed to your side.
If you want to go ahead, we can get started.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a Southfield misec Tech Talk here. We'd like to thank Town Square Food and Spirits for hosting these events and hosting our meetups. Fantastic place to eat, delicious sandwiches and burgers. Our next meeting will be held at One-Eyed Betty's in Ferndale on August 24th. Check the Discord for more information on that. We'd also like to welcome Edward, who's going to be giving us a presentation on home labbing with PFSense and how it can set you up to excel in your career.
All right, thank you so much for that introduction. So today we're going to talk about PFSense in the home lab. So who am I? I'm Edward Miskowiec. I'm a gamer. I love playing games. So far, my addiction of choice right now is Diablo 4. I got one character to 100, Barbarian, and I'm very close on getting my second character, a Druid, up to level 100. I'm a fur daddy of 2. I have a beagle called Buddy, and we also have a terrier called Penny. You can see him in this little picture. I also like getting a good deal on anything I can find, whether it's used computer equipment or stuff for my pool. Like I just got myself a pool robot cleaner for $300. It normally runs $900. I love IT and cybersecurity enthusiasts. I've played around with the home lab setups. I've done ESXi. I've done VMware. I've done a whole bunch of different stuff. As you can see in this presentation, I'll be running PFSense. So anything in the home lab I like tinkering around with. So what is PFSense? PFSense is a open source firewall. So if you really wanted to, you could go online and pull down the code and compile it yourself, or you can actually go ahead and download it from PFSense website. There is going to be a couple different versions that you can use. One of the more popular ones is PFSense CE Community Edition. This is used by most of the people that just want to play around with their home lab or protect their home systems. There also is a PFSense Plus. This is a lot of times where you want the commercial edition. The home lab is free. There is no type of support besides the community. So if you have any problems, you have to reach out to the community. You can also, if you're a business, you can go with TAC Lite. TAC Lite is free, but your support tickets are best effort. So there is no type of SLA around getting support and whatnot. Or you can go up to the more professional license, which is the TAC Pro. You're talking $399 a year. Any support tickets you have has a 24-hour SLA on it, so you can get support for a fairly reasonable rate, especially knowing this is probably aimed at a lot more small businesses, medium-sized businesses. Key features here. Stateful packet inspection. This actually allows the firewall to see what kind of information is being sent through it. So it has ability to see what kind of packets flow through it and whether it needs to be blocked or not. And since it's stateful, once it knows what to do, it's going to keep doing that forward throughout the session it has. It also has GeoIP blocking. This is very big because Russia, China, and there's a whole bunch of other countries trying to attack you and any type of network they can get into. So you can just say, let's block all their IPs, and their IPs are in national lists saying what country owns what type of blocks. Also, there's some anti-spoofing features in it. You can create some time-based rules. This is really good if you kind of have a family and you don't want your kids to be going to any sites after like 8, 9 o'clock at night. You can just say all their access is shut off during those times. And you also can have some connection rules, basically saying no porn sites or whatever you want to block there. Also for the small, medium-sized businesses, there's a capital portal. This allows you to create an agreement that the people have to agree to use your internet. So very good if you have something like a Starbucks or something small you want to try to protect. Some key advantages of PFSense in the home lab. Segmentation. Segmentation is huge for us. This allows you to have like your IoT networks on its own VLAN, and this will actually prevent it from talking to other devices. So if one of those gets compromised, it's not going to be able to spread to the rest of your network. Another key feature it has is WireGuard VPN. This is going to be very useful if you're doing any type of traveling or connecting any open networks. This basically tunnels all your traffic so no malicious actor on that network can see what you're actually doing. One of the, or another key feature here is a web-based configuration. So this is where you're going to go and you're going to configure any type of rules you want, and whether it's time-based, whether it's segmentation, any type of configuration you're going to do, most likely is going to be in this interface. There is also a fallback to command line. So if you want to write scripts or do anything in the command line, it is there, but that's not where you spend most of your time configuration or configuring this device. And it also allows you to see real-time traffic graphics. So you can see if there's a huge spike in the middle of the night, you might want to look at that and see if somebody trying to pull information from your network, or what's causing this. Did somebody try to bypass one of your rules and your kid's trying to do something that they shouldn't? So hardware, there's two options you can really do here. Netgate produces hardware that you can buy. It has PFSense on it, so you just plug it in, you configure it, you can go there. Or you can go the more complicated route like I did and use an old device, or even a mini PC that might have more than one NIC card out. Requirements are really low. 64-bit operating system, 1 gig of RAM, 8 gigs of hard drive space, and at least 2 network interfaces on the device. Any questions as yet? Okay. So where do you go to get this? So pfsense.org/download is where you can download this. I will leave this up for a minute, so anybody wants to take a picture of this, you're more than welcome to. Also, the slides are below in this presentation on YouTube, and they'll also be on the misec Discord under the Southfield chapter. So preparing the boot media. I like Rufus. It was very simple, very easy to use. All I did was download the ISO, put in a USB drive, and just tell it to burn. Doesn't really get much simpler than that. So booting the media. This is where I ran into a complete roadblock here. So I got this system used. When I got it, I pulled out the video card, I started up, everything works fine. I ended up putting a video card into it to try to capture live images, as you can see in the background here, of what it looks like when you're actually installing this device. And as soon as I did that, I got nothing on the screen. So what my troubleshooting steps are is going in, I tried a whole entire different video card, still the same issue. So I even took a step back, it had onboard graphics, I plugged that in, and it booted up. So through some troubleshooting that I did, I reset the BIOS back to default configurations, still didn't work. And then after that, what I ended up doing is a BIOS update, because on these older equipments, they never upgrade the BIOS. So as soon as I added the BIOS, put the video card back in there, the system booted up without any type of troubles at all. So, like I said, you got to be thinking outside the box on troubleshooting these issues because you'll never know what you're going to come into. So on my system, the boot menu option was F12. Depending on your system, it could vary many different things. Most commonly is the F12, F9, escape, and maybe even delete key. So installation options. You actually have a couple different installation options here. You can do a fresh install. So if this is brand new equipment, just do a fresh install, go through the configurations. There's also a rescue shell. This is in case you have a system that's already up and running and something happened to it where it's no longer booting. Also, they give you an option if you have saved off the configuration file and your system destroys, or if you want to move to new equipment. The configuration.xml will allow you to restore all your configurations from your old device. So installation options, you actually have a couple different options here. You got ZFS, you got UEFI, you got BIOS, manual, and shell. ZFS is going to be nice if you have a system that does not or has a lot of memory in it. That's one of the biggest downfalls. If you have a low-end device with very low configurations, you probably want to stay away from ZFS. Then you have the UEFI, which is more secure, and it requires a little less RAM. It also has options for larger storage over the BIOS settings. So BIOS, you're probably not going to use really much these days. You probably want to go up to UEFI just for the additional safety feature, or not safety feature, but the additional features in it, like bigger partitions, bigger hard drives. Manual, that's just if you want to get into the weeds and figure out all yourself. So like if you're doing a home lab or something, it might be interesting going in there and playing around. And then they have a shell, which once again, that's going to be really getting out in the weeds, and you're going to definitely be learning some low-end stuff to try to figure that out. Now, they offer you a couple different RAID options here. Straight means you have no redundancy at all. One drive fails, you're done with. Also, they have mirror, which requires 2 drives, so it's a duplicate of the whole entire between the two. RAID 0, you're going to require at least 4 drives, and it's going to stripe across 2 drives and mirror that over to the other 2 drives. Then you got RAID 1, which requires yourself 3 disks. 2 disks is going to hold your data, and then there's going to be the 1 for parity, so you can lose 1 drive and you can still be up and running. RAID 2 does the same thing, but you have 2 disks as backups. And then RAID 3, you got 3 disks as backup. So you could have 3 disks fail before ever having to worry about anything in the system. Encryption of your disk. So as a security person, I like to have everything encrypted. The reason why you would do encryption of your disk is in case you're worried about, or somebody's stealing your device, they won't be able to have your access to your configuration. This is probably a lot more concern in a medium to small business, not so much as in your home lab, because with that configuration, they're not going to really come back in and do anything with that. Encryption of your swap is actually important because this encryption of a swap actually can take stuff from your memory and write it to your hard drive. And if it's not encrypted, somebody might be able to go in there and pull out that information from the swap on your hard disk. Setup interface. So you have 2 options here. So your WAN interface, that's going to be anything that you publicly expose to the internet. So this is basically coming in from your ISP so it can communicate out to the internet. LAN is going to be within your network. It's designed to allow communications between different devices within your network. Missing drives. This was a fun one. So I wanted to have a second drive in here for my storage logs. So when I booted it up, I just saw one drive and I'm just like, what's going on here? Because I knew I plugged it in originally. Within my initial troubleshooting with the graphics card, one of my graphics cards was so big, it was covering up one of the SATA slots on the motherboard. So I ended up pulling that out and not realizing it was never plugged in. So I ended up looking at it and figuring it out, like, oh, I got to plug in the drive for the BIOS to see it. So once I plugged it in, it appeared. So just be careful on your troubleshootings. You might cause more issues that you don't even realize. So always check, make sure everything is connected here. So conclusions. Best laid plan isn't going to survive first contact. So like I said, I was never expecting to have issues with the hard drive and the video card. I was just expecting to install it and go. So you got to make sure you pivot. Yes, that is me in the pivot scene. Yes, there's a friend's experience. Me and my wife went to it. It's a fun time. So we got the pivot. Segmentation. Segmentation's huge for your home environment or even a corporate environment because you just don't want a flat network, and if something happens with one device, they might have access to everything else. So segment, segment, segment. And don't be afraid to walk away. Sometimes the best thing you can do during troubleshootings or having issues is just walk away, cool down, recollect your thoughts, and then go back at it with a fresh set of eyes. All right, thank you. My contact information is up here. Do we have any questions today? Was there anything in the chat? Okay. All right. Any questions from the stream? All right. Well, thank everybody for coming out and listening to me live. Like I said, we will be in One-Eyed Betty's in 2 weeks. So hope to see everybody there.